And if you don't believe it, do your own research. Pull up Google. You'll find the picture, I promise. Oh my god. Thank you, John Gleason, Godless engineer, for gifting me this beautiful moment. Y'all remember when they tried to cancel Steven Spielberg for posing with an animatronic triceratops animal rights activist? Back it up. Hit it from the back. Historical facts.
Eat my ass, BP. You're down here bailing on the rest of us because you don't want to process your grief and shame like a normal person by drinking and mistreating strangers.
No, Rick. It is you who must nibble my cloaca, or bird asshole.
Everyone knows what a cloaca is.
You know, back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online. They spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, you know, they spread this thing out. This has got a huge wing. It was a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so,
Paul Bunyan was sharing some Funyuns with his pet velociraptor. Whoa. Oh, you thought it was an ox? Roll back the clock. Let me knock the socks off. Historical facts.
I didn't cut out. You heard me. Are you a pervert or something? Okay.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless Engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Tonight, we're going to be going over a Red Pen Logic video, and he did this in conjunction with Mike Winger, but we're only covering Tim Barnett's portion of the video. He goes through all the same points. It's just sort of a face-off between him and Mike as to who can make the best counter arguments to 10 atheist arguments that were given in a comment section. So he's basically just reading a comment and complaining about it. But he is going to be providing us with even more fallacies than what the commenter provided. So if you want to fuck around and find out how wrong Tim Barnett is on these 10 arguments against God, then please stay tuned. Shit. It was supposed to be a bit smoother of a transition there, but you get the point. Welcome, heathens, to the Friday night stream. So glad that all of y'all are joining me tonight. We got our first member chat, milestone chat that where Daniel M is saying, "Sing happy birthday to David. His birthday is on the 15th. He will be 5." Woo! Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to David. Happy birthday to you. Anyways, happy birthday there, David. I hope you have a great birthday on the 15th, and I hope you have an awesome weekend there, buddy. Anyways, so I'm glad we got the birthday out of the way. Thank you so much, Daniel, for sending that in, letting me know that it was David's birthday. So tonight we've got Tim Barnett. He's going to be educating us, I guess, on counter arguments against atheist arguments against God, I guess. But before that, we've got Today I Learned comments and and Brocephus. I don't know why I would forget about Brocephus being here, but Brocephus is here to educate us in one of his little TED Talks. But in case you guys don't know, a portion of all the proceeds that we make here on the Godless Engineer channel, whether that be super chats, memberships, or just watching our videos, a portion of that goes to charity. Now, last year, one full year of doing this particular effort, the entire 12 months, we were able to donate like $8,300. So I'm hoping that we can maybe donate some more this year, but we'll just see. So if you want something read on the stream, we got our nice little Brocephus notifications that go on over here, and you can help make the stream a lot better by sending a super chat in, letting your opinion be heard for everybody that's watching and that will watch in the future. So consider becoming a member, send in super chats. That'll help us donate to charity, and it helps keep the GE channel running here. So with that out of the way, we need to get to, hon, what today I learned. Oh, I was supposed to sing that shit. I forgot. Hold on. Let me. Technical problems with GE. All right. Here we go. Today I learned. I think the right there at the end is really sells it with my face showing up in the middle of the screen there. All right, so first on Today I Learned, we have in 1940, a 14-year-old Fidel Castro wrote a letter to U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt asking, if you like,
drink up, motherfucker, it's not getting any better.
Thank you, Quentin Van Boeven. Sending in my weekly tithe to make sure this gets used for shitty fucking purposes. Yes, so in case you guys don't, I forgot to mention this earlier, but this month we're going to be funneling our donations to the Recovering from Religion Foundation. They're doing a charity drive this month, and so we are going to be, contributing to that this month. So, they provide a lot of great services. And we verified them through our normal processes, so they're a great organization. But thank you so much there, Quentin. I really appreciate you. All right. And last month we did $500 to American Humane for the Betty White challenge thing, to help support all of the little pups and kitties and other pets that are out there. So but yeah, we were able to donate about $500 to that. So I appreciate y'all. All right, let's get back to the Today I Learned. So he asked Franklin D. Roosevelt, if you like, give me a $10 bill Green American in the letter, because I have not seen a $10 bill Green American, and I would like to have one of them. Thank you there, Fidel Castro. I don't think that he ever got his $10, but whatever.
Today I learned that atheists sacrifice
Belgarth
babies
sacrificing babies over there, saying, haven't thrown my money at you in a while, so take my money, damn it. Thank you there, Bell. I appreciate it. All right. Let's get to our next, because we do have comments too, so. Next up on Today I Learned is some coronavirus fun facts. Those can be fun. The pregnant women who were diagnosed with COVID-19 were 15 times more likely to die and 14 times more likely to be intubated to help them breathe than were women without a COVID-19 diagnosis. They were also up to 22 times more likely to give birth prematurely, with a sample size of 869,000. So, yeah, it's definitely, COVID will fuck you up in multiple ways. So just putting that out there, just so you know. And finally, on Today I Learned that the Mongols had a superstition that said that spilling royal blood would lead to a great disaster. So they got a little creative with the ways they would put people to death that met that particular standard. The These ways included sewing up your orifices and drown you in molten metal, or have horses trample you. Now, so the whole spilling of blood, like, I wonder if it's just any blood, like, because I get the molten metal. That's not exactly, I mean, it's gonna, you know, it's like Terminator Salvation shit, if you know the particular scene I'm thinking about. But like the horses trampling you, that would definitely spill blood. So I don't understand why that wouldn't be spilling blood. But just because you're not the one doing it, I feel like the blood is still spilled, you know? I feel like blood is still spilled if you sew up all the orifices and prevent people from, you know, being able to shit and stuff. I feel like that would eventually lead to like some kind of bloody death. So I don't know. Anyways, this is fucked up. Oh shit. What happened? Oh, when I've got Windows 11, and so it's got a nice little desktop switcher down here, and somehow I moved my mouse over it, clicked a different desktop, and everything disappeared for a second. And I was sitting there like, what the fuck happened? Did I just ruin the entire stream? And no, I didn't. So good on me. All right, enough of that depressing shit. Well, we got comments next, so it's still more depressing shit. Comments of the day. Prepare to facepalm yourself in the next week. All right, so got to put on your tinfoil hats. Y'all got the tinfoil hats ready? The nanowires are collecting charge off water vapor in the atmosphere, and they're completely unnecessary. You hear that? Nanowires. It's Alabama 2077 up in this bitch. Okay? None of this cyberpunk shit. We're getting hillbilly cyberware. All right? Kelvin's experiments show that you can collect plenty of charge off of water alone. Back then, it was all static electrical charge, like Tesla, obviously. I don't know what this fucking hillbilly knows about Tesla. But it should be feasible. Flatten the curve for continuous DC production in much the way CVT engines work today. The issue still remains that personal power plant will never pass muster with the energy companies or the US government that wants to tax you for usage. I have no fucking clue as to what this person's talking about here, but apparently they can collect electrical charges off of water vapor in the atmosphere, and that apparently can be a personal power plant. And this is going to aggravate energy companies and the U.S. government. I mean, how would you tax that as a U.S. government? Like, oh, you're living, so we're going to have to charge you $2.13 an hour in order to, I don't know, seep some electrical charge in your ass. I mean, holy fuck. I have no idea what this was referencing, but I feel like it wouldn't even make sense in context. All right, next up. Listen, okay, you can't prove that the vaccine lessens your symptoms because you don't know what your symptoms would have been like if you hadn't been vaccinated. And you never will. Okay, so for one thing, just the basic premise or process of vaccinations and our immune system inherently means that the symptoms won't be as severe. For COVID-19, the severe symptom is death. So, for one thing, it's so anything is obviously better than death, right? But we do know what the symptoms like could possibly be and generally are, and just how our immune system works. Being vaccinated means that our body can fight it off more and fight it off better, so that we don't have as severe symptoms, so that we don't end up in the hospital and die, either directly from COVID or from other things that happened because you were in the hospital for COVID. So, yeah, just understand how our immune system works and you will know how dumb as fuck this comment is. Shit. Sorry, it just pisses me off. Listen up, all you commie bastards out there. Because metrics are harder to learn, okay? That's why I want to stick with the American system that's confusing as shit, okay? And we are smarter, by the way. I start to watch YouTube recipes, and as soon as they get into that mumbo jumbo, I switch it off. Millimeters, micrograms, meters, yuck! All I need to cook is a set of measuring cups and a spoon, American style. The metric system is so much better than the imperial system, and I really don't know why. Like, we continue to the United States is one of the only places that still uses the imperial system. Every place else in the world uses the metric system just about. I don't know why we are so stubborn about these things. And it's not just the metrics that, like, our measurements, right? It's not just that America lags behind on. Like, we lag behind on how we, treat the working class in America. How much paid time off like pregnant people get. And so it amazes me how people like this can just be so steadfastly dumb. And think, oh, the imperial system's so much fucking better. Listen, I joke about that all the time, but I'm sorry, the math nerd in me has to love the metric system just for how simple it is. Sure, it's difficult for me to judge distances by kilometers, meters, and what in the fuck ever. It's that's because I grew up knowing like feet and yards and shit. Plus I live in Alabama. Everything's measured in washers and football fields. So, I feel like, Americans just need to not like get on their high horse about how we measure shit. I mean, when it's when it's commonplace for, but when it's commonplace, I tried to empty my recycle bin for some reason in the middle of my speech, and I accidentally deleted the recycle bin. So I don't know what that's going to do to my system. Oh wait, it looks like it's still there. I don't know. Just for some reason, I saw that it was full, and I'm like, I should empty that. I was just like, fuck, do it. Anyways, shit, I forgot what I was even fucking saying there. We need to get off our high horse about how we measure shit. When it's commonplace that we measure a hole in the road by the number of washers that'll fit in it, I really don't think that we can really judge anybody else's measurement system. Anyways, yeah, it's fair. Thank you, honey. I'm glad we agree on that. All right, next comment. Listen, does anyone know if anyone has determined if the jab is affecting blood alcohol content for people charged with the DWI? It is an interesting question to ponder, and I mean, I'm not asking for myself. My friend wants to know, but considering the changes that we have seen in the blood, maybe I didn't get drunk and drive. Driving DWI is driving while intoxicated, right? With driving with intent to drink. DUI is driving under the influence. DWI, driving while influenced. while intoxicated? I think that maybe it's the jab that's really causing me to be drunk and not the alcohol. It's not the Jameson. It's the jab. The jab is causing, it causes a natural buildup of alcohol in our system for reasons. And alcohol doesn't cause a buildup of alcohol in our bloodstream. Oh man, anyways, that's a crazy fucking comment right there. I don't even know how to respond to that. All right, final comment of the night. We've got this one from random person saying, if you are administered a vaccine and you aren't 100% guaranteed to not get it, you are 0% vaccinated. So that's not what vaccines do, and that's not how our immune system works. Because how vaccines work is that it helps your immune system train to fight the virus, so that your immune system has better defenses, so that it can fight the virus off. You still contract the virus. It's just that you won't have, like, you'll either not have symptoms or have light symptoms, or just not severe symptoms of it, and you'll be able to survive it. And what we have seen with COVID-19 is that actually your immunity starts to decrease over time. And so that's why it's important to get boosters. And several other vaccines have boosters. Now, it's not in such a quick succession as the COVID-19 vaccine. Well, I was thinking about how you get a booster like years later down the road, like when you're like 11 or 12 or something like that. For some. Right. Yeah. Well, when you're an infant, you do have successive ones where you get boosters like that. So you're right, honey. I totally forgot about those. It's been 12 years since I've had to deal with that shit. But anyways, so that all of this is totally normal, and it, like I said, it doesn't prevent you, like, it's not like a force field or something like that. I know these people think like the blood of Jesus protects them in some kind of force fieldy kind of way, but that's not how it fucking works. Whatever. But anyways, yeah, this person just doesn't understand how immune systems work and shit like that. So, but what's next? Yes, for Cephas. I think I'm gonna have to go get him. Yeah. All right. Be right back. Oh shit. Hold on. Shitty ass science. We're gonna answer some science shit really wrong. Woo! It has been a long fucking time. Why is there a penis on my screen? There's a penis on my screen. What the fuck? What has he got me talking about tonight? Anyways, what's up there, heathens? How y'all doing? Hey, if you guys don't know, you'll get some live Bro Cephas reaction if you do a super chat during this particular segment. I'm just saying, just in case y'all want to, because I like reading y'all's stuff. Anyways, so let's see. Evolutionarily speaking, at what point did the green onion diverge from the penis? Listen, I don't know who you've been talking to about this evolution shit, but it's wrong, okay? I've taken every single Eric Hovind and Kent Hovind seminar. I know how this shit works, okay? This was designed by God, and you know how I can tell? It looks like a penis, okay? Hold on, I got some shit over here. Oh, no, wrong. Fuck off of me, dust. Anyways, I know that it was designed by God because it looks like a penis. God loves dick, y'all. Okay? He loves it. He slurps that shit up. That's why he had them design the Ark of the Covenant to be like a couple of dildos he could fuck himself with. Okay? Oh, we read it. You know. Don't act like you don't know. Oh, I Heart Dogs sent a super chat saying for the RFR Foundation. Yeah. Thank you so much there, I Heart Dogs. I appreciate it. I mean, as much as I hate Godless and stuff, I mean, I have to appreciate people helping other people out, so I definitely appreciate the RFR. Okay? Anyways, so, evolutionarily speaking, it's bullshit. This did not evolve that way, okay? God fashioned this green onion thingy to look like a penis. Because he's obsessed with dick. What do you mean everything's not shaped like a dick? No, the tomatoes are shaped like balls. And then you got the tomatoes mixed with the banana. That's the shaft. Celery is the shaft. I don't know what to tell you. I'm weird. Oh, okay. I'm weird. Woo, I'm weird for thinking about dick all the time. Those two are balls. Those are big balls. Bell peppers are balls. Tomatoes are balls. Anything round is balls. God loves having balls in his mouth. I mean, you know, some people have misshapen testicles. Anyways, we got Elizabeth Richardson because apparently the super chats decided to fuck off and stop working. She's on the highway to hell. Elizabeth Richardson says, Brocephus loves to help people escape religion. Well, now, I mean, I don't love to help them escape religion, but if they need help, they just need help, okay? I'm not out here to stop people from getting help. I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I just said that. I said that they just decided to fuck off. I have no idea why. I could probably get GE to, hey, GE, your shit's broke! Anyways, he went to take a shit. Jonathan Hanachek said, can you tell Miss Caitlin? Oh, wait, shit, there they go. Fucking GE interrupting me and shit.
Hey, this person just bought an express ticket to hell.
Jonathan Hanachek says, can you tell Miss Caitlin I miss her crazy corner? I need some comeback. I need to come back and do some more, please. Please, please, please. And she's the best reader of the Bible podcast. She's the only reader. GE just makes shit up, okay? Now listen, this is how God fashioned the green onion, right? I mean, he had to get it like this, and he had to roll it out a lot. And so he had to double hand that motherfucker, okay? Sometimes you just gotta double fist and pump it, okay? That's just how it goes. Listen, okay? I don't care what Kent Hovind says. I've been to all his lectures, and he talks about whale penis all the fucking time. You're gonna tell me that God fashioned every creature, and he didn't take a little bit of liberty with the fucking whale penis, huh? No, and Kent Hovind knows that too. That's why he's focused on whale peen all the time. There's a lot of penis centered around that man. I'm just saying. Anyways, so this, like, the penis and the green onion did not evolve, like, in any kind of way. It was all handcrafted by God. Okay? That's the point of all this, alright? Just saying. Leave it the fucketh alone, okay? Alright, now, I gotta go and get GE. He apparently fixed the super chat, so if y'all want to do some super chats or something like that, please feel free to go ahead. They might show up in about 20 minutes, but whatever. Anyways, I'm out of here, y'all. Don't forget, y'all are all burning in hell. Bye! Shit, this shit ain't working. GE, your shit's broke! Listen, my shit ain't broke, okay? You just don't know how to work it. I hit the button. It didn't do shit. That's your fault. You know it. Calm down there, hon. No. You do have to admit, this looks oddly like the head of a penis. Like, but, I mean, as I've been told, I am a little bit of a pervert. All right. So we got through everything. Now for the review. Boom. There we go. Yeah, it's the transitions that have failed me tonight. All right. Yeah, this is Tim Barnett. I don't think that quarantine has been too kind on him. This was done just in December, like early December last year. So yeah, my guess is that he's not taking telework too well. And I mean, I don't see his dog around, so he probably scared that little thing off. But anyways, this is Tim Barnett of the Red Pen Logic channel that is run by the Stand to Reason crowd, who's they're a misogynistic, anti-LGBT group out there. Shitheads. Thank you, honey. Yes, shitheads. Daniel M says Tim looks like a green onion. Maybe he's just been sniffing green onions. I don't know. But anyways,
You know, donating this much only makes me drink more.
fuck yeah, it does. Thank you so much there, Daniel. I appreciate you. All right. So Timmy B here is going to tell us about how God definitely exists, and he's going to argue against these arguments that an atheist put on his channel. And apparently he has a bet going with Mike Winger. So let's get on into it.
This is going to be a good one. So a few days ago, I'm scrolling through the comment section of this channel, and I came across something that left me speechless. At first, I wasn't sure if this was serious or if it was just a joke. The comment claimed to offer 10 ways to prove that God doesn't exist. This comment also caught the attention of my friend, Mike Winger, who has a teeny tiny YouTube channel called The Bible Thinker.
When he says teeny tiny, KC was like penis? I've slowly trained her to always think about dick. Oh, okay. But yeah, Mike Winger is not small. You know, he was being facetious there, but anyways, I do want to say right off the offset. Oh, I'm not talking about Tim Barnett's penis right now. Oh, yeah, I'm not talking about Mike Winger's penis. When I say that he's not small, I meant that his channel isn't small. Sorry, I could see how that might be confusing if you got penis on the brain. Anyways, this is awkward. So anyways, he's not a small YouTuber, he's a pretty big YouTuber. But Jason Kolosik said, just as his pen is in the red, his logic is bankrupt too.
Woo! Bear money!
Fuck yeah, bear. Well, liquor money is what I should say, you know. I mean, yeah, Casey got me some liquor. This is Jameson Black Barrel. Yeah, Jameson Black Barrel and Coke. Diet Coke, technically. So, anyways, I do want to clarify here about the whole proving that God doesn't exist thing. I am not a Gnostic atheist, like 100%. I'm Gnostic on particular definitions of God. And people that have watched my channel for a while, you guys know my complete position. But just to be explicit here for this video, I don't think that we can definitely prove a God doesn't exist. Although I do know that there are some people out there that feel like they can prove that God definitely doesn't exist. I am not one of those people. I'm agnostic on the general idea of a God existing. I don't know if we'll ever be able to prove whether or not he does, unless he can somehow show himself. Any God, sorry, any gods. show that any gods exist. So, but for the specific Christian God, the God of the Bible, I'm very Gnostic on that. I know that God doesn't exist as described. In fact, I would say that any of the definitions of God that we have now, I am Gnostic on. I do not think that they can exist as they are described by their respective holy books. So, just a little bit of a nuance there. I think that whenever you're trying to communicate this, being as specific as possible is the best thing to do. So like saying, oh, 10 proofs that prove, or 10 arguments that prove that God doesn't exist. I don't know, that leaves you open to a lot of counter arguments that might be valid. So I don't think that there are any valid counter arguments that Tim Barnett brings up, but you know, we'll just have to see.
You probably haven't heard of it. For fun, I challenged Winger to respond to all 10 challenges in less than 2 minutes. Mike said, under 2 minutes? That's 12 seconds each. I don't know if I can do that. I said, fine, 3 minutes. He replied, challenge accepted. But why should Mike get to have all the fun? So, because I'm a good sport, I decided to show Winger how it's done. It's time to make Mike my wingman.
So, yeah, just a little bit of a criticism here. I think that it's a bit bad planning to respond to the exact same post, you know, and then have the person that you're collaborating with also respond to the same post. Like if you're looking to like do a collaboration like this, I feel like it should really be like you do half of them, he does the other half in a video, and then or like you have one half on your channel, he has another half on his, or something like that. I don't know. I feel like that would have been a better collaboration, but that's just that's just some criticism from a content creator kind of perspective. But let's see how Tim does with these 10 proofs.
This is Red Pen Logic with Mr. B, where we help you assess bad thinking by using good thinking, and we have way too much fun.
Every Red Pen Logic video that I've seen has not had good thinking in it. In fact, I feel like there's a lot of like non-thinking going on in them, or just bad logic. Like there's a lot of things that happen in these videos. Good thinking, whatever in the fuck that could be, is not one of them.
Too much fun while we're doing it. Today's challenge comes courtesy of Brian Doyle. He offers 10 ways to prove that God doesn't exist. Let's see what he's got. Video guy, please put 3 minutes on the clock, and let's include a fallacy counter, just because. Proof number.
So I kind of feel like he cheats the timer a little bit here, because while he has 3 minutes to refute all of them, he only counts the time that he's using to like actually refute the argument, instead of like the entire, because it's like 7 minutes long. And so I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit too picky about how he's doing the timer thing. But it just, I don't know, it kind of seems like he's cheating at it a little bit, but it's whatever. I don't care if you can do it in 3 minutes or 20 minutes. Although I do appreciate the short time frame that you did this in.
Number 1, the fact that a human being has to tell you about the existence of your God proves there's no God. We would be born with knowledge of its existence.
Okay, so before Timmy B gets to his counter argument, I feel like this particular point is a bit malformed, because I don't think that the fact that humans have to tell you that God exists proves that there's no God. I think that if a God were to exist, he could tell us himself or themselves, whoever might might this group of gods be, or single god, whatever. I think that expecting us to be born with the knowledge is a bit speculative, and you can't really support that. Like, it just seems arbitrary to say that. What I would refactor this first point here and be like, the fact that God doesn't tell us himself that he exists, or at least reveals in some kind of way explicitly that he exists, then that's a good indication that maybe I shouldn't believe in this God. I'm not going to go the full way and say that proves that this God doesn't exist, because I don't think that, but I definitely think that you should be skeptical of anybody that has this definition of a God that can't be proven. Like, there's literally nothing that directly shows that this God exists. I don't think that you should believe in that God.
No God. We would be born with knowledge of its existence. The first proof offers the first fallacy. It's called a non sequitur. The conclusion just doesn't follow. Human beings have to tell us about the existence of all kinds of things, but that doesn't prove that those things don't exist. For example, teachers tell terrified students about fractions, but that doesn't prove there's no fractions. Bad start. Proof number 2. A God believes.
So, before we get to proof number 2, I feel like Tim's got a fair assessment of that first one as it's presented. Because like I said, it's a bit malformed, the first one here. But I feel like he kind of sidestepped it a little bit by only addressing explicitly what this first part was saying, instead of like really tackling what I feel like is the intent of the first one, which maybe that's me pushing intent on it or whatever. That's why you should be explicit in these things and not require somebody to sift through it and read between the lines about it. But the fact that God does not give us any kind of indication that he does exist makes it very suspicious about like the whole claim of a God existing. And I think that it's definitely a good reason to not believe in a God. But I don't think that it disproves that a God exists. I think that goes a little bit too far. But it's definitely something that should cause you not to believe in that particular thing, I think. All right, so number 2.
Belief is simple geography. Being raised in a Christian home decides which God you believe in.
Again, this one's a bit malformed because the real issue around all of this is the idea that any one definition of God is the true definition of God, right? And it's incredibly suspicious that like you don't have like somebody grow up in a country that has nearly no Christians in it and become Christian generally without somebody converting them or something like that. Generally, wherever you grow up, whatever religion your parents are, you tend to grow up in that religion. You tend to believe the same way that your parents do. And so I feel like that's really the target of the second one. Although I do agree that this does not disprove that a God exists, but it does prove the subjectivity of all of these religions. Because if our reality points to all of these different religions being the one true religion, then it kind of seems like everything in reality, every argument that they use that's common between all these religions, it kind of makes it seem like maybe those things don't actually prove anything. Like if morality can prove both the Islamic God and the Christian God and the Jewish God, which they're technically all the same, just a little bit different understandings for each one of them. But if you have different religions that use the exact same evidence, I feel like there's something either wrong with the evidence or wrong with the logic that got them to their conclusion. It just seems like they're arguments that can be used to verify whatever in the fuck you want to. So they're really useless arguments, is what it ends up being. So I feel like the subjectivity of religion based on your geographic location and how these arguments can be used to validate any belief, really, any religious belief at least, I feel like that right there should cast more doubt on this whole idea of a God existing. I don't think that it disproves it in general, but it should definitely make you doubt.
This is a textbook example of the genetic fallacy. You cannot invalidate a belief by showing how someone came to hold that belief. So this proof is about God belief, not about whether or not God exists.
I don't know if this is actually a genetic fallacy, because a genetic fallacy is like saying an argument is wrong because of where the argument comes from. So it's like it would be a genetic fallacy to say, oh, Christianity is popular in the United States, therefore it's false.
Here comes the gravy train.
Thank you there, Lucrezia. Lucrezia says, saw Neil deGrasse Tyson last night, and he used the end speech of War of the Worlds to show that it is less offensive to say God did it than to use science. Like the original quote by H.G. Wells, which said evolution did it. Oh, that's interesting. Actually, we're going to be going to see Neil deGrasse Tyson when he comes to Huntsville in June. So we're going to be doing that too. I hope it was awesome there for you, Lucrezia. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think I finally got that name down. But anyways, so genetic fallacy is more about like refuting an argument because of where it comes from. One that hits a little bit closer to home is that, Richard Carrier is a mythicist. You get your information from Richard Carrier. Richard Carrier's a hack. Therefore, you're wrong because you get your information from Richard Carrier. That would be a genetic fallacy. It's all like, I don't just say, oh, well, Richard Carrier says this. That's not what I say, obviously, but that's an example of a genetic fallacy. So I don't think that it's a genetic fallacy. Maybe let me see what the definition. Let's see. Fallacious. Let's see. Logically fallacious. It's a good website to go to get explanations on fallacies and formal argumentation. Genetic fallacy, basing the truth claim of an argument on the origin of its claims or premises. So, I mean, that's not exactly what's going on here. So I feel like maybe he just misunderstands what a genetic fallacy is. I'm not sure. Anyways, let's continue.
Put another fallacy on the board. So much for proof number 2. Proof number 3. There was no time before the Big Bang, so that means that there was no time for a God to exist in or create things in.
So, I mean, I don't think that... So it's a little difficult for me because when we're talking about God, I can't help but to think about, magic. Like whenever we're talking about God, it always comes up, it always comes back to magic for me. Now, if we're talking practically, I would have to agree with number 3. Before the Big Bang, there was no time, space, or matter, so there was no time for a God to exist. It's a little difficult for me to imagine what existing outside of time would actually look like, because I feel like in order for something to exist, there would need to be some kind of measurement from one moment to the next, which is generally what we call time, right? And a progression of time. So if there was no time, then how could a God exist outside of time, space, and matter in order to create time, space, and matter? And Timmy B is going to show the classic sidestep that all apologists go through. But I think that this is the first argument that I think is a decent one if you were wanting to have a conversation with someone and not necessarily disprove that God exists, but just cause somebody to really consider the description of their deity. Because if their deity is timeless or non-temporal, I just don't know how to process that. Like, I don't know what that means. I really just do not know what it means to exist outside of time. So yeah.
This challenge mistakenly assumes that God is necessarily a temporal being, that he must exist and act in time. But Christians have traditionally held that God is a timeless being, outside of time, prior to creation. So there's no proof here, just a straw man fallacy.
It's not a straw man fallacy, though, because like I said before, it's a little difficult, at least for me. Maybe somebody else understands it perfectly or whatever, but it's difficult for me to imagine anything living outside of time or existing outside of time. I feel like you would still need some kind of time measurement in order for something to exist, right? So, and I don't think that we'll ever know what the state of everything was prior to, the Big Bang and the inflation of our universe. I don't think that we'll ever be able to absolutely know what it was like. But we definitely know that time started when the universe inflated, right? That's when time started. But his thing right there is a classic moving the goalpost. Okay, so basically what you got is this God, in his mind, a God that, oh shit, my camera froze. Hold on 1 second, okay? All right, there we go. Atheist cats became a mafioso. Welcome, atheist cats. All right. Right. Sorry, I was getting back on track. So what he did was a classic moving the goalpost, because he has this particular definition of God in mind.
Hey, dipshit. This person just bought you a beer.
Oh shit, that means I got a drink. Quentin Van Booven says more technical issues with GE. Maybe I should really do that with my ukulele. More technical issues with GE. So anyways, it's classic moving the goalpost, because he has this definition of God in mind. And this definition of God definitely includes him interacting in our reality, like doing things, actually communicating with humans in this reality. And so bringing this up, the fact that this fact that there was no time before the universe inflated, throws a wrench.
Donating this much only makes me drink more.
Fucking right there, Darren. Darren says GE just froze time, so there for God. But it throws a wrench in their plans, in their definition at least, because then that means that they have to push God outside of time, space, and matter. God must exist outside of those things in order to create everything, right? And so they just keep pushing that goalpost back. And I think that it's a bit poor form for him to respond to the argument by presenting a fallacy, but counting the original argument as a straw man fallacy. It's not that he's trying to straw man your particular definition of God. He is just trying to describe, the fact that there was no time for God to exist in. And it just makes no sense to say that something is timeless in that particular context. There's different contexts for that particular word, timeless, but in this particular context, it makes no sense for something to be timeless. All right, what's next?
Proof number 4. The Abrahamic God cannot exist because it wasn't the first God to be created. There are other gods that have been proclaimed to exist before this God. They can't all be true, so if we can deny the existence of one of these gods, we can use the same method to deny them all.
So I feel like this particular point is again a bit malformed. I see where they're trying to go with it. But at the same time, I don't think that this proves that the Christian God doesn't exist. At least not definitely. Like where you're looking to, like when I say that I can prove that the Christian God doesn't exist, it's not the fact that other gods have existed prior to the Christian God and none of those existed. That's not the way that I would argue that. The way that I would argue it is take very specific claims from their Bible about their God and prove how those claims don't comport with reality. And so that's how you would disprove specific definitions of God. Like, for instance, we've been going through Job. In Job, God claims to have warehouses full of different kinds of precipitation. Hail, snow, he's probably got a water jug up there. Actually, yeah, they said that they had holy water jugs that God would tip over and everything like that. Could have been just like, heavenly imagery or something like that. But this is what God literally tells Job about precipitation and shit. He takes full responsibility for precipitation in Job. That's not how precipitation works. That's not how the water cycle works. It's not how anything works. So, and that single point doesn't disprove the Christian God altogether, obviously, but that's one kink that kinks up the hose for the Christian God. All right. And so if you have enough kinks in your hose, you're not going to be able to run water. It's going to be a broke hose. I don't know. That seems like an odd analogy, but you know what I'm saying? You have enough problems in the book. They all pile up to the point where there's no way for that God to exist. Okay. And so, for this particular point, I feel like where you would actually want to go with it is that, well, we've had all these descriptions of God before, and your description of God is only slightly different. Like it's the same basic premise, right? Except now it's monotheistic and all this other shit. And so given the prior probability that all the other gods have been proven not to exist, the chances that your God exists is going to be hard to prove. You got to have really good evidence for it. And given the evidence that we have for the Christian God, it gives us the inclination that he doesn't exist. Okay? So what you would want to do is use this to establish some kind of prior probability for any definition of God existing. Given that none of the other definitions of God have ever been proven to exist at all, the likelihood of this God existing is slim to none. That doesn't mean that it can't be overcome by good evidence. It just means that it's very unlikely that your particular definition of God exists. That's how you would actually want to use this particular argument. Not to say that God definitely doesn't exist or that the Abrahamic God definitely doesn't exist, just that he more than likely does not exist.
If this is a good argument against God, then it's also a good argument against science, since older false concepts are often replaced by newer true concepts. On Doyle's logic, since the older geocentric view is false, we can just deny the newer heliocentric view by the same method. Of course, this is silly. We should weigh the evidence for each theory and for each god. Another non sequitur on the board.
Yeah, except, I mean, that's what science does, though. I feel like he thought that he had like a one-up on like scientifically minded people or something, but I mean, that's just how science works. Yes, if a better model of the solar system and our universe comes along, then we would want to adopt it. That's how science works. So, I mean, I feel like you're just sort of reinforcing the point here that he was trying to make, I guess. But it's kind of funny how it's like you're walking through the living room and you like kick the table and you smash your little toe on the fucking leg of the table and you're like, "See, motherfucker," and then you walk out. And it's like he just came in and hurt himself in the confusion and he doesn't even realize it. But yeah, so I mean that's how science works. I mean, if we were to weigh the evidence between heliocentric universe and whatever or heliocentric model of the solar system, and whatever new model might come out, if the new model better predicts the effects that we see in reality or the everything in reality, then we would adopt that model. So I don't understand why he thinks this is a gotcha kind of moment.
God, another non sequitur on the board. Proof number 5. God either allows the devil to exist and is an accomplice, or it isn't an all-powerful God. An all-powerful and all-loving God wouldn't allow the devil to exist. Isaiah 45:7, KJV. So,
I get the sentiment of this. This is basically the argument from like suffering, right? So basically, if your God is all loving, then why does he allow suffering to exist? Or in this case, why does he allow the devil to exist? So we got Who's Your Buddy? The super chat.
I don't know what y'all have heard, but donating is not going to make me stop. Fuck me in the asshole.
Yep, you heard that right. Who's Your Buddy says, all I know is that God, Santa, the Tooth Fairy, and the Easter Bunny were all real. Then I'm told the three that aren't real are the ones that had the most evidence to prove their existence. That must have been a head turner there. Who's Your Buddy? So it's basically so if your God is all loving, right, then he wouldn't allow suffering to happen, or he wouldn't allow the devil to cause suffering or whatever. You know, I feel like this highlights an internal contradiction with the theology of Christianity itself, because you know, if God is all loving, then I don't know why he would even allow suffering. Now, the general apologist retort to this, or response to this, is that, well, God allows free will, man used free will, the bitch ate an apple, Adam ate her apple, and then, you know, that's how it went, and we have genetic diseases and shit. That's the general response from apologists, you know, paraphrased by me, of course. But that's what they'll say, is that God allows free will, and that has caused the world to come into suffering and everything like that. But, you know, free will is not, there's no evidence that says that our quote unquote free will, you know, is, in this particular context, is the thing that causes suffering. In fact, in the Old Testament, God directly causes suffering, and as like punishment, I guess, to people. And it could be easily remedied, right? God could snap his fingers. He could have everything work perfectly. And he could have created a better system. He could have done a lot of things that would prevent this suffering from happening while also allowing people to have free will. Okay? A popular thing that I say is that, God allows priests to diddle little kids. And, typically apologists will say, well, they're using their free will. God doesn't want to take free will away. Okay, well, am I taking away someone's free will if I run into the room, punch him in the dick, and then run out anytime he tries to diddle a little kid? No, he could still choose to diddle a little kid, but I'll still pop right on in there, pop him in the dick, and then pop right out. Eventually, he'll get the message to stop doing that shit. I'm just saying God doesn't have to take away free will. You could totally have free will, and you could just go around punching everybody in the genitals. I mean, it's a crude solution, but I think that it could work. If you knew that if you knew that stealing something like a piece of bread or something like that would cause Jesus to pop into existence and crack you in the nuts, you would definitely not steal it. Okay, there's no way of getting around it. Pop you in the nuts and he'd return whatever you stole, so you wouldn't get it. This is not affecting free will at all. Let's see how Timmy B handles this.
Doyle sets up a false dilemma. It's not an either or. There's another option. God is all powerful and all loving, and God allows the devil to exist because he has good reason to do so, which is why philosophically trained atheists have largely abandoned this proof. Fallacy, false dilemma.
No, it's not a false dilemma or a false dichotomy or anything like that. Because it's a married bachelor kind of situation here. There's the popular analogy of, well, you can't be married and a bachelor at the same time. That just doesn't work. Because they're two, opposing terms. They can't mean the same thing, right? In the same aspect, like if your God is loving, then him allowing evil and suffering to happen means that he's not loving. These are contradictory ideas in the theology. And if God has good reason to allow suffering and evil, then it seems to me like he could figure out, considering that he's all-knowing, he could figure out a way to get around having that suffering and evil in the world for good reasons. So he's ultimately still choosing to have evil and suffering in the world, even though he could easily solve it.
May the power of Christ compel you to get the fuck out of here.
Quentin says, if he goes skedaddly skedoodly, your dick is now a noodle. Every time Father John tried to diddle little Timmy, is he really affecting free will? Thank you for that, Quentin.
Proof number 6. The God of the Bible is jealous of other gods. This proves that this God is not the only God. With multiple choices, only shows that there is no reason to choose just one. If a God were true, there would be no other options. Exodus 34:14.
I mean, I kind of disagree with this. There's a natural progression in the Bible. So originally, Judaism was not monotheistic. While Judaism was still developing, it started out as a henotheistic religion. What that means is that it was a religion that had multiple gods in it, but you only worship one particular god as being the god of, all gods or whatever. Kind of like how Zeus is the head honcho. In the same fashion, Yahweh would have been the head honcho for all the other gods, right? And then in a natural progression to monotheism, what you have is this sort of delineation between God and just general divine being. So in in Judaism and in Christianity, you have only one God, right? But there are different divine beings that still exist. The problem is that not all of that was erased from the Old Testament when the editors were doing their thing. They still kept in a whole bunch of verses that talk about other gods existing and act as though other gods exist. And so this particular point is just driving, it should be driving home the fact that other gods did exist at the time, but that doesn't mean that Yahweh God doesn't exist. You just have to know a little bit about the history of the religion in general. So I would say that this one is kind of a bad argument. And I think this person's only had like 2 good arguments so far in this video. But this one right here, it doesn't mean that a God doesn't exist. Hold on. What's it? Oh, hi. Yay. Yeah. Okay. I'd rather be high than go low. But anyways, I think that this is a bad argument because it doesn't prove that the Abrahamic God doesn't exist. I mean, this just highlights the history of the religion in general and not any kind of point of fact that could prove that God doesn't exist.
As a teacher who has given thousands of multiple choice tests over the years, I can say with some authority that multiple choices does not mean that there's no reason to choose just one. There are false answers, just like there are false gods.
Yeah, there are, but you also have to consider how much evidence your God has versus the other gods. And from what I can tell, they all have about the same amount of evidence, as in they don't have evidence. Like, they have their own holy scriptures and all this other stuff that say they exist, that record fantastical things about them. And so your God just doesn't seem any different. I get your analogy with the whole multiple choice thing, but it's as if it's multiple choice, but all of the answers have equal probability in being right or being correct. Because Yahweh has about as much evidence as, any other definition of God that we have. And so, I don't know. It kind of seems like there's no good reason to pick this one God over the others, other than it's become normalized to worship this particular God. Or these other gods are just not worshipped anymore. So these are the sets of gods right now, and you just kind of have to pick.
Another non sequitur. Proof number 7. There is no evidence that spiritual energy exists, so we can conclude that psychics, ghosts, and gods are non-existent. Otherwise, God has nothing to be made of. Not this again.
Yeah. Okay, so there is no evidence for the spiritual realm, or quote unquote spiritual energy, as the person was talking about. We don't have any evidence that this mystical side of reality even exists. So there's really no reason to posit that it does exist, or to assume that it does exist. And so, I mean, I get the intent of the person's, let's see if we can get back. Yeah. So I get the intent of this. And I think that proving a spiritual side to reality, or this other, maybe not dimension, but this other level of reality, I think that we would first have to establish that exists before you can start proving that God exists. So, I mean, this is one step into proving that God exists, but also we don't have evidence that says that, like, that particular aspect of reality doesn't exist. We just don't have evidence that supports its existence. And it's subtle, but it's very different, because we can't say that it doesn't exist. We just know that nothing gives us the indication that it does. And so there's no reason to believe that it does. Until you can prove that it does exist, then I feel like any God claim is going to have a tough time being proven. Because you can't just skip over that step. You have to go through this spiritual realm problem before you can actually start proving that God exists. As soon as you can prove the spiritual realm exists, then I think that you have a clear pathway to prove God. But until that happens, I don't think that you're going to have a good time trying to prove that God exists. So I feel like this is malformed. It goes too far. It doesn't prove that God doesn't exist, but it does present an obstacle for proving God's existence.
God has nothing to be made of. Not this again. An immaterial being, by definition, is not made of material. I'm not going too quickly here, am I? God is not made of anything. God is spirit. God is spirit, but he's not made of spiritual energy. He's immaterial. So this is a straw man. But Doyle might also be begging.
Well, before we get to this next false fallacy, I guess, it's not a straw man, because all Tim is doing is pushing the goalposts, or moving the goalposts, because, God, I feel like God cannot be both material and immaterial. In the Old Testament, God is clearly material. It materially exists in this world. In fact, all of the celestial shit, all the firmament and the heavens where God lives, all of that was physical in this reality, right? All of that was physically there. God has even physically been on earth in the Bible. In Job, God physically visits earth and talks to Job. But not only that, he also visits Moses materially. So I feel like God can't be both immaterial and material at the same time. And to speculate that he can flip it on and off like a fucking light switch, I feel is you just making shit up in order to make your hypothesis work. And that's not a way to prove your point. That's a way to cover your ass.
The question by assuming materialism, that matter and energy are all that exist. Proof number 8.
Well, see, here's the thing. We know that the material world exists. We know for sure that with a high degree of confidence that things exist. It's not 100%, obviously. The whole brain in a vat thing, or how do we even know that, the shit we're touching is real or whatever. That aside, we could be sure that physical shit exists, right? Reasonably sure, like more than reasonably sure that physical things exist. So we have direct evidence for that. We don't have direct evidence for God or anything spiritual.
May the power of Christ compel you to get the fuck out of here.
Who's Your Buddy says he was made of enough material to wrestle Jacob all night and grab his thigh when he couldn't win the match. Yes, and thigh should definitely be red penis, because that's definitely what God did. Grabbed hard, and that's just how Jacob liked it, apparently. But seriously though, we don't have any evidence that proves that the spiritual realm exists or that anything spiritual exists. So we're just stating what we can know. And until you can prove the spiritual realm exists, we're just not going to believe that it does. And what he's essentially doing here is he's hiding behind a God of the gaps, because it's like, oh, well, there's nothing that says that it doesn't exist, so therefore it must exist, and that's where God resides. And so it's rather interesting to see him make these basic fallacies and not recognize it, but also call somebody else out on fallacies.
8. There is no such thing as nothing. For nothing to exist...
Huh? Nothing to exist?
Would cause it to be something. Creationists believe that God created the universe out of literal nothing.
I don't know how this proves that God doesn't exist exactly, other than maybe he's saying that a creationist type God is illogical because he couldn't, like, nothing couldn't exist. Technically, in the Bible, it's not that nothing existed before. There was like a vast ocean of water that existed, and then God separated them and everything like that. And so it wasn't that, you know, God made shit out of literal nothing in the Bible exactly, but I guess I just don't understand this particular argument and how it disproves a God. I mean, maybe you could use it to disprove like a creationist type of God, but I don't know. This just doesn't. I don't really get it. I don't know. I wouldn't use this. I don't suggest that anybody uses this particular argument because it just seems very convoluted and a bit confusing. I mean, even Timmy B was a little confused by this, so I mean, I can't really fault him on that because I too am like, what? But yeah, I don't think this is a good argument.
This is an equivocation of the word nothing. By nothing, we mean no thing. That is, God didn't make the universe out of anything. We certainly do not believe that God created the universe out of something that's called nothing. So there's no thing here that disproves God.
You know, let's go to Genesis 1 here real quick. Let's see, Genesis 1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty, and darkness over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. I mean, okay, so I guess that, like, the nothing here comes in before God creates heaven and earth. And earth was just completely, apparently it was quote unquote formless and empty. But it was empty, but it also had water on the surface of the earth. But I guess the nothing that he's talking about would come in right before, like, God created the heavens and the earth. On verse 6 it says, and God said, let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water. So I mean, I don't know, maybe I was getting things confused here because it seems like the nothing comes in right before the heavens and the earth is created. So I mean, I guess I could see that. Anyways, so for this one, I mean, I like how he uses an equivocation to refute the bad argument presented. And he calls it an equivocation. So typically, this happens with all creationists. Typically what they'll say is that that no thing existed, like absolute nothing was there in the beginning, right? But what we have found is that that's not true. When we remove everything from a vacuum of space, like from a space, if we remove everything from it, there's still an electrical charge, so there still is something there. So this literal nothing that creationists often talk about, the no thing, it doesn't exist, because the nothing that science is concerned with is still something. So he uses an equivocation to refute the bad argument that is confusing.
See what I did there? Proof number 9. This isn't a finely tuned world created with us in mind. The sun gives you cancer, most of the water is undrinkable, and diseases run rampant. If there was an intelligent designer, there wouldn't be any mistake.
Now, you know, I have to agree with this particular argument, but I feel like this is misplaced, because this is supposed to be 10 ways to prove that God doesn't exist. And I feel like if you're going to say God doesn't exist, then you're just talking about a general idea of God, not any specific definition. And an intelligent creator or intelligent designer is at least somewhat of a specific definition, because there's multiple gods out there that fit this description. But the fact that this world does not seem finely tuned, that this planet seems to be tuned to kill us rather than allow us to survive, would seem to indicate that it was not designed by an intelligent designer. This is a good argument against creationism, but not against like a God existing, because creationism can be false, but a God still exists. And so I feel like this is a good argument in the wrong list.
First, just because you can't drink the ocean or antifreeze doesn't mean they're not designed. They're just designed for another purpose. Second, something doesn't have to be perfectly designed in order to be intelligently designed. Third, imperfect design is perfectly consistent with intelligent design in a broken world.
So, wait a second. We'll get to the broken world part here in a second, but he literally just said that the number one perfect being doesn't have to design something perfectly. I mean, that means that he would knowingly design something to fail, or he would design something to fall apart, or to do something that would be harmful. I mean, imagine God up there tinkering with like the genetic code, or the different processes that go into our genetics, and he's like, oh yeah, this is gonna fuck a lot of them up, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make this copy process mistranslate things on occasion. It's gonna miscopy some shit. There will be mistakes because fuck these people. I mean, doesn't that kind of make your God a bit malicious there? Like, I feel like you did another one of those stubbing your toe things, and you're telling somebody else to fuck off, or like, yeah, motherfucker, and then you leave the room. You hurt yourself in the confusion there, Timmy B. So I mean, yes, I do expect an intelligent designer that has perfect knowledge to be able to design something perfectly. I do expect that. If they don't design something perfectly, then they designed it that way on purpose. Like, they designed the genetic code, like they designed all the processes around our genetics to fuck up on occasion and give babies bone cancer. Or to give anybody bone cancer, not just babies, obviously, but to give anybody genetic diseases. But that's where the broken world comes in. Because you notice that this is all consistent if we live in a broken world. So the Christian God is only consistent if Eve eats the apple. That's the only way this world makes sense, is if Eve eats the apple. So it kind of makes it seem like Eve doesn't have a choice but to eat the apple and to cause original sin to happen. Because then, how would this religion make sense? It wouldn't. That Christianity would not make sense unless that bitch ate a fruit. Okay? It was a fruit, not an apple. I just misspoke earlier. My point is that they are basically retroactively explaining why bad shit happens. They're saying, oh, well, why does bad shit happen? Oh, God damn it. That bitch Eve ate some fruit and it pissed God off because he said not to. And that's why dick cancer happens. Yeah, that's it. That's why it happens. She ate fruit. It's like, ah, damn, I didn't know a fruit salad could do that shit.
Consistent with intelligent design in a broken world. Number 9 offers another non sequitur. Proof number 10. Evolution is obviously proven and true. This means that we weren't created by magic and are somehow superior to the animal kingdom. No creator, no God.
So on this last point, I was with the argument up until the very end, saying no creator, no God, because you can still be a theistic evolutionist. You can definitely believe in a God and accept evolution to be true. Now, But again, I feel like this particular argument is misplaced because this is supposed to be a list of things that disprove a God, but this disproves a creationist God. And I would agree if this particular thing appeared in a list that says this is how we know that the creationist God doesn't exist, or that we weren't created by God specifically, is because of evolution. That's where I would expect this particular argument to show up, not in a list about God in general. So I feel like the very last part kind of does a little bit of a leap there, going to God doesn't exist. But I mean, I would definitely say that the creationist version of God doesn't exist if evolution's true, which it is. Another thing that, a minor thing. I don't agree that we're superior to the animal kingdom. We are still in the animal kingdom, and we are still animals ourselves. We are part of the great ape family, which makes us apes ourselves. So we are still animals. I don't agree with putting ourselves above other animals, as far as classification wise.
Biological evolution, even if true, has nothing to do with the existence of God. It has to do with God's alleged role in biology. That's all. If Darwin was right, atheists can still be wrong, as shown by a large number of theistic evolutionists. So this is another non sequitur. Despite what you've been told, evolution doesn't disprove God. Stop the clock.
It pains me to say this yet again, but I agree with this creepy motherfucker right here that evolution does not disprove a God. And I don't think that anybody should try to use evolution to disprove a God. Unless that God is a creationist version of God. I do believe that evolution proves that God did not create us, because we obviously evolved from a common ancestor with the other apes. So, thinking about God as this guy, or as this being who fashioned us out of dirt and then fashioned women out of a rib, is definitely proven false by evolution, but not the general idea of God. So anyways, he's done with the list, and now he's got some housekeeping shit to do.
Boom. That is how it's done, Mike Winger. There's no way Mike did under 3 minutes. That guy's videos are an hour long. There's no possible way he's going to do this in 3 minutes. Well, there you have it, folks. We did 10 quick answers to 10 bad arguments. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to head over to Mike Winger's YouTube channel, The Bible Thinker. The link is in the description. Go over there, see how he did with the same 10 questions.
You see, I feel like there's a lot less of an incentive for people to go to Mike Winger's channel and check out his video, because they already know the questions he's going to cover. Christian apologetics don't change. Okay, they're stagnant. It's always the same thing. So, I mean, they're just going to go over there and consume the exact same content from a different person. And so I feel like there's a lot less incentive for them to go and do that. Now, if they would have done I'm going to do 5 in 2.5 or in 1.5 minutes, and Winger's going to do 5 in 1.5 minutes. And you gotta watch both in order to get all the content, right? I feel like there's more incentive in there, but anyway, that's just a little bit of a nitpicky thing for me. That's it for his video. All in all, I thought that the all of the arguments that were presented were kind of bad, with the exception of a few. Some of them were misplaced, like the evolution one. I know there was one other one that did not need to be in that particular list, but it should have been in this disproves an intelligent creator that created us kind of list, not just a general God kind of list. So, I mean, be wary of these particular arguments, and don't be afraid to correct people out, on the social medias when they're using these bad arguments, because I feel like we should, promote good arguments within our community, because there are good, solid arguments and good, solid reasons to not believe in a God. But I do want to stress here that it's not our job to disprove a God. You don't even have to go anywhere and list off like 10 reasons why God doesn't exist. Okay, you don't have to do that. Primarily because it's up to them, those that are making the positive claim, to prove that a God exists. Like, I'm not just saying, anybody that believes in a supernatural like deity. I'm just talking about the people that, are very out there and forceful with their religion. People that are like, oh, you don't believe in God? Do you murder people as a side gig? Do you sacrifice kitty cats in your basement? You worship Satan. Not that worshiping Satan's bad or anything. I mean, I don't have a problem with Satanists, whatsoever. I feel like Satanists are more likely to be nicer people than some Christians out there. So, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with Satanists, but you get my point, right? So just be very wary of these kinds of arguments, and don't let yourself be painted into a corner or pushed into a corner of trying to disprove God, because it's not your responsibility to disprove their God. It's up to them to prove their God. And as far as atheists go, we're not trying to push like anybody into atheism. Well, at least I'm not. I'm not going to speak for everybody else, but I know at least I'm not trying to force people out of their faith or anything like that. I just don't believe, and it seems like people have a problem with that. And that's not just my own experience. That's plenty of other people out there have had the exact same experience. So, all in all, it pains me to say that I agreed with Timmy B on some of these, and I disagreed with him on others. I think that some of the arguments were good, and if you were to change them about a little bit, some of them were misplaced, and some of them were outright ridiculous and bad. So it's kind of a mixed bag on this video tonight. But I would love to hear what you guys think. So make sure you leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought of the 10 arguments or in Tim's responses to these arguments. So let me know down below. And hey, while you're down there, why don't you guys smash that like button? Because I know that you made it this far. You probably love the content. So make sure you smash the like button so that I appear more in your feed. That'll help the channel out here, and it'll help us to that end goal of getting more than $8,300 donated this year. So definitely smash the like button and subscribe. That also helps us out here too. Watch our videos and everything like that. We're about to go into the Skeptic Mafia comments, so if you don't want to stick around for that, that's fine. If you don't know what the Skeptic Mafia is, it's the memberships here on the Godless Engineer channel. If you want to, you can go to joinskepticmafia.com, or you can just smash that join button that's right below this video. Now, part of the Skeptic Mafia is that you get podcasts, you get to use the emojis in the side chats like you've seen people using all night long, especially when people become a member. We spam the chat with these special emojis. And most importantly, though, you get to pick the video that we do on Friday nights if you join at the Mafioso level. The Mafioso level, you also get to leave a comment. You get to have your thoughts added to the conversation on the screen. And I'll go through them, I'll read them, I'll interact with them live right here with you guys. So definitely consider becoming a Skeptic Mafia member today. If you're leaving out right now, I really appreciate you guys joining us today, watching this video and everything like that. I hope you have an awesome weekend, and don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens. But don't go, because we got the Skeptic Mafia comments a coming. Just gotta get them set up real quick. And make sure that none got held back. Nope, none are held for review. All right, and we got the newest one up there, so let's get on into it. Rick Schofield in the in the chat says, "Thank you, GE, for the awesome commentary." Thank you so much, Rick, for watching tonight. I appreciate it, man. Zoomy sees themselves over there. I Heart Dog says, "Yes, join us, mafiosos." Soren Alexander says, "Great stream, GE." So anyways, all right, let's get to these comments. So first up, we got Daniel M. Daniel, whose son David turned 5. Magical number 5. Daniel says, "I'm not spending a lot of time going through this shit. I absolutely do not like this guy. At least his videos, but I'm guessing his personality is the same either on video or off. Hey, I could be wrong, but I doubt it. He goes through the 10 points not offering any so-called proofs of his own." And that was less than a minute, depending on how sauced GE is by the time he reads this. Logical fallacies, you say? How about moving the goalpost, gish gallop, and more on spelling? And I'm sure GE will point out more along the way. Anyway, join the Skeptic Mafia, get perks, and help people. By the way, David's birthday is the 15th. He will be 5. I'm about to let you all know in just a few seconds, as GE is starting as I write this. Now, tell me that I didn't rip a hole in space-time itself. Woo! Paradox! Thank you there, David. Daniel. We got Metalhead, who did a member milestone chat saying, "Thanks for everything you do. Tomorrow is my birthday, and I will be spending it working." Oh, well, I always like to know when y'all's birthdays are, so if it's close, I'll definitely sing you guys a birthday song. Here you go, Metalhead. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Metalhead. Happy birthday to you. I like how Swamp Possum subscribed right before I ended that. Anyways, there you go, Metalhead. I hope you appreciated that. Next up is Quentin Van Boeven. Quentin says, "Well, he is correct. I have not heard of the Bible thinker. Perhaps that, though that's just because I am not his target audience. First 2 I will skip over as they are not important, but the third one is classic moving the goalpost. His rebuttal to the 8th one made no goddamn sense, and I am fairly sure it only played into the point the commenter was making. The 10th one, I have to agree with Mr. B. Evolution and God are 2 separate questions, with neither one proving or disproving the other. All in all, I'd say the commenter was on the right path, but fell into some common traps. And I'd label some of your more basic ways to disprove God, but not the best. I may not be able to tell you the best thing to do in all situations, but I think I can tell you the best thing to do in this situation. That is, of course, to index at 1, and then go like, share, and subscribe, and maybe even comment, just to really get that interaction level up, which I hear makes the AI overlord look favorably upon GE. If you want to help the channel even more, consider joining the Skeptic Mafia for some sweet perks, like sweet ass emojis such as the "what the fuck," the idiot bell, the robot devil, and then my "what the fuck" face. You also get to help choose the video for Friday, so blame us for this video, but not me. I voted for something different. You also get a podcast. Sometime it's a surprise, a Discord channel, and of course, you get to make comments like these where you can make GE say ridiculous stuff. You choose, if you so choose, such as KC is always wrong. Anyhow, that's my time. Sorry, Quentin, there was no reaction from the peanut gallery over there. Anyways, here's Zoomy. Okay. So Zoomy normally has ASCII. So I'm gonna wait to do the read more until we get there. So Zoomy says, 1, that's not a non sequitur. It does logically follow. 2, that's not a genetic fallacy. How many times will that one be misused? Like, seriously. 3, if God exists, he kind of has to exist. What he just pulled was a non sequitur. 4, I'm tired of debunking already. I'll just leave this to John and leave you with ASCII. That's a good ASCII there. What up, Captain Adonis? How you doing? Zoomy goes on to say, I'm just tired of the same old back and forth. Does God exist? Does he not exist? I mean, there are millions upon millions of gods out there. Disprove them, and I'll use the same method to disprove yours. There, debate settled. Anyways, I'm glad you have the guts to actually review stuff like this, because honestly, I just get bored. Like I did today. So like, shill. Lick that like button, kiss the subscribe button, finger the bell, and make sure all notifications are on and all that jazz. We'll see you guys later. Exit stage right. Yeah, so the as far as shilling goes, the Mafia, the Skeptic Mafia membership is tiered. So for like, if you only wanted to do the emojis in the chat and everything like that, then you can just become a shill, and that's the lowest level, which is, it's ironically named. But at the Mafioso level is where you get a lot of the perks. You get the podcast, you get to vote, you get to comment. So you get a lot of stuff at the Mafioso level. Next is Jonathan Nickel. Jonathan starts off with, to start with, I am not sure why the Brian person wrote that post. The atheist has nothing to disprove, as no theist has yet proven their case. All they did was offer ammunition to the theist and adopt an unnecessary burden of their own. Anyway, here's a brief response to all 10 of Tim's attempted rebuttals. 1. Not a non sequitur when describing Christianity. According to the Bible, God wrote his law on our hearts. That we needed to be told about this God and supposed law by other people strongly suggests this never happened. I can see that. If God wrote this stuff on our hearts, then he could definitely write it on there that we exist. But again, I was thinking of it in the context of a general God and not the context of the Christian God. Because the Christian God can do literally whatever the fuck he wants to. I mean, he's done plenty of other things like that. He's hardened the hearts of people. He's affected people's free will in that kind of way. So, I mean, I think that that's not out of the realm of possibility for the Christian God. So I'm glad that you brought that up. 2, not a genetic fallacy. If born out of evidence, people raised in different countries are exposed to different religions, and this often determines which religion, if any, you accept. Hellbound Hillbilly did a milestone chat saying, let's see how many times we can get GE to drag out the ook for birthday hollers. I'm finishing a lap around Seoul on Sunday. Oh, shit. This weekend's a big birthday weekend. Let's do this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Hellbound Hillbilly. Happy birthday to you. I feel like as time goes on and I finish my drink, it's just going to sound more country. I'm just saying. Watch me break out an acoustic guitar that I don't have here in a second, and I'll just be like playing acoustic guitar. Okay. To 3. He tries to counter this one by claiming that God exists outside of time. He claims a straw man fallacy, but I counter with the special pleading along with appeal to popularity. Christians claim this. Therefore, good point. The whole special pleading thing is, I think that's a relative of the moving the goalpost. Like, moving the goalpost is just a specific kind of special pleading sort of fallacy, I think. That sounds right. 4, he doesn't understand how science works, and that is not analogous. 5, I fail to see a good reason for an all-powerful, all-loving God to allow Satan to exist, and he doesn't offer a reason. I know, I agree. Like, that's a little weird. 6, the first commandment says, "You shall have no other gods before me," and the Bible lists a number of gods by name, not a non sequitur. Right. I agree. It's definitely not a non sequitur. Pretty much, like, nearly all of the things that he said were fallacies were actually not fallacies. 7, how can anything, including God, exist and have no substance? This sounds like more special pleading to me. 8, he's arguing semantics and trying to assert that nothing doesn't mean nothing. His attempted rebuttal amounts to nothing. 9, even in the Bible, the world wasn't broken when God made it. That it could be broken by the actions of humans means that humans must have been a flawed design. Was that intelligent? No. 10, it is true that evolution doesn't disprove God. However, it doesn't show we weren't created as humans. It does show we weren't created as humans and aren't superior to other animals. Therefore, it does disprove the creation story in Genesis and creationism as a whole. Is this guy creationist? Yes. Sorry. Yes, the whole STR group is a creationist group. At least that's one of their that's one of the things they hold to is creationism. Next up is Trickster, who says, "Okay, so I will agree that maybe the points that Mr. Doyle could have been stated in a better way. But maybe he didn't spend a large amount of time to study the subject. I can understand how hard it can be to put your thoughts into writing." I totally agree. That's why I for most of them, I said that these things are malformed or they're misplaced. Because I feel like they were trying to get something out, but it just did not come out correctly. I don't agree with the jumping to the conclusion that God doesn't exist. That part I feel is wrong, but I feel like the sentiment behind most of the arguments made could have been stated in a better way that wouldn't have made them so easy to tear down. Someone like Red Pen make their living by sidestepping points and arguments that they aren't comfortable with or even fully understand. I would like to see Red Pen or any of his cohorts take on someone like GE, Apologia, or even BitchSpot blog. I really don't think he would have as easy a time as someone in the comments section who may not have taken the time to put a little polish on his points. Not going to check out what Mike Winger is going to say unless that comes up in the Skeptic Mafia video, as I know it will probably be more of the same. That's exactly how I felt there, Trickster. I felt that, it's just going to be the same regurgitated points or counterpoints being brought up. So there was really no incentive other than the people that are already fans of Mike Winger to go there and check out his video. I mean, although I will say that a lot of Christians love hearing things repeated to them that just reaffirm their beliefs. So I don't know, maybe that's an effective strategy for Christians. Who knows? Trickster goes on with, like, subscribe, and share this where you can. That's all I got for today. This guy made my brain hurt, and you will have to put in a generic shill. So podcast. We're trying to stay, we're trying to stay up to date with the podcast. We have one out right now where Robin Bullock reveals who the Antichrist is, as well as how the Antichrist got here. That was interesting. So if you want to check out some crazy shit from the interwebs, then you need to become a mafioso in the Skeptic Mafia, and you too can listen in on the podcast. That's where KC normally pipes up at. So we're gonna try our best to stay on it for this month of February and get you guys podcasts out regularly. That'll be one thing that we've got to do this Sunday. Thanks GE and KC for all you do. You help me be smarter about religious things and help me be better armed to engage with people who try and tell me about God and the Bible. Thank you there, Trickster. I'm so happy that you're getting at least some kind of educational shit out of me talking about penis all the time. Tonight was penis heavy, so I'm glad that you get some educational shit about out of this. Next is I Heart Dogs saying, are we looking at Winger too? I didn't, because Winger makes claims without evidence too. Like, God has a good reason. The creation out of nothing answer was just dumb. The timeless answer, also dumb. On the whole, though, the existence of God is unfalsifiable, so I'm not sure why any atheist would claim to prove God doesn't exist. Some proofs could be presented as arguments against theist claims, hopefully within a dialogue. I'm disappointed at both sides on this one. Insert shilling here. I'm done. Thank you, I Heart Dogs. So another thing you get to do is every Wednesday or Thursday, depending, I'll put up a poll for you guys to pick which video we're going to cover. And the thing is that I put up descriptions of the video, not exactly the video title or anything that can really fully inform you. You just kind of have to roll the dice and hope that you don't get like Matt Powell or something. Typically with the Matt Powells and like Kent Hovens and things, I put their names in the thing so people know what they're voting for, but you know, people still vote for that shit. Thank you, I Heart Dogs. I appreciate you. Next up is Command Cyborg. Says, hello, world. Oh, brother. It's the red pill guy. All right, that's perhaps not entirely accurate, but I'd say feckin' close enough. Yeah, you've got a snappy enough presentation style to be a Christianist, but that doesn't make you right, just feeling righteous. Right, let's go on with it. Someone in the comments made you upset? Oh, okay. What's next? Name dropping a colleague? Blah, blah, blah. Equivocation much? Blah, blah. Okay, I'm pretty sure you made a fallacy somewhere in there at least once, and a lot of taking stuff out of context. I'm tiered today. Been prepping for my shortly upcoming wedding anniversary. Oh, awesome. Happy anniversary there, Command Cyborg. I'll put a stop here, but first I'll wiggle you this, the whale peen. Yeah, if you want to play with the whale peen emoji, you got to become a member. Smash all the buttons, ring-a-ding-dong on all the buttons. Don't lick your phone without proper precautions. And that's all, folks. Thank you. And Command Cyborg says goodnight. Transmission terminated. Thank you so much there, Command Cyborg. Appreciate you. Let's see. All I want to say is you cannot disprove anything, really. The idea of evidence that something does not exist is highly illogical to me. All one can do is prove something exists or fail to prove the existence of anything. This does not, in and of itself, prove that something does not exist, only that you cannot prove it does. That's all for me. Yeah, I totally agree with this. The bit of nuance I want to interject with my own position is that as far as specific definitions go, the definition of that God, like let's say the Christian God being the Bible, those are the claims, and then I can show you how those claims don't comport with reality. And so that's why your God probably doesn't exist, or more than likely doesn't exist, at least as described in those claims. So you can disprove like claims, like you can show that these claims are wrong, right? You can do that, but somebody first has to make a claim in order for you to do something about it. Next up is Terrence Clark saying the timeless being thing irks me. Actions and decisions imply change, and change requires time. A timeless being is one that can't act. If there was a point at which God decided to create the universe, there was a point at which he had not decided to do so. Apologists could call God an eternal being, or a being that operates independently of time such that it could jump forward and back in time at will, but entirely timeless is nonsensical. I agree. And that's the thing that I got hung up on tonight. On that particular one was like, how the fuck does this even exist? Like there has to be some measurement of time, even if it's outside of our universe, in order for God to exist. And we don't know how to describe whatever fucking situation that would be. So, I mean, I agree with you there, Terrence. Thanks for your comment. Then we got Jason Kolosak, who says twice as dense, twice the fail. Logic and thinker both are disqualified for demonstrating. Nobody, Siri. Shut the fuck up, please. I mean, I'm sorry, Siri. Don't kill me in my sleep. I'm told that I need to be nice before they kill me in my sleep. But I agree there, Jason. Thank you for your comment. And then Gary says, oh, as good old JR would say, this is going to be a barn burner. Lol, see you guys tonight for this. Thank you there, Gary. I think you're in the chat. I'm not sure. Anyways, thanks, Gary. Elizabeth Richardson is our last comment for tonight. Elizabeth says, oh, it's Matthew Santoro's less charismatic twin. You know, now that you mention it, he does look a lot like Matthew Santoro. He's like a Matthew Santoro, but shittier lists. Anyways, I'm going to try to keep this short and just touch on a few arguments. I'm avoiding working for a few minutes. One, I can see his point on this one. Would we know that atoms exist if we weren't told about them? So I'd have to say that he has a point on that one, and that this one isn't a good argument. I think, as stated, it's not a good argument, but I think that if you kind of refactored it a little bit, and change, of course, this requires changing the argument essentially. But I think that you could just do a little bit of editing on it, and you could get to some kind of good argument on number one. Number two says your parents telling you that God exists, therefore he exists, is a genetic fallacy, not the other way around. That's a good point. Yes, that's true. Number four, learning more doesn't negate science. True. Number five, he's all not giving a shit anymore if he exists. You humans just do what you want. I'm sick of your shit. Number 9, so God created a world that is trying to kill his favorite creation? Oh, okay then. Number 10, disproving creation kind of does disprove God when Christians hold on to it so tightly as proof of God. Yeah, so, and that would be specifically the creationist version of God, not just a God in general. Jason Curtis subscribe to the channel to talk shit in the live chat. Thank you so much. Boom. There we go. That's it for our show tonight. Woo! All right. It seems like now our standard amount of time for the live streams on Fridays is 2 hours. So just saying, that's the normal time frame now. We're on time. Anyways, heathens, I hope that you guys had fun tonight. I know that I did. I appreciate everybody that did a super chat. I appreciate everyone that's watching tonight. You guys are awesome. Hellbound Hill. Oh wait, sorry. I think my chat's getting caught up over here on the on my other view. But anyways, we got a lot of great stuff coming up this next week. We've got we got more of Red Pen Logic on Monday, and then we got some Did Jesus Exist shit going on Thursday. And we've got great shit going on in between. We've got the Daily Bible Podcast. We're going to have a clip going out on Wednesday, and we've always got shit posting up on GE Shorts. If you want to, you can just type in Godless Engineer Shorts into YouTube, and you can find the Shorts channel. That's not like shorts like the 1 minute clips.
Hey, y'all know what? Anytime is a good time for a beer.
It's not like the 1 minute clips. These are short clips I've taken out of various videos and very precisely targeted a specific subject. And they're like between 4 and 8 minutes long. Like the longest I think I've posted is maybe 9 minutes. So if you want to, you can go over there and get some short form content that targets very specific topics. And, you know, I'm trying to get that above the 1,000 mark, and then also trying to get it to where I can send it in for review to be monetized, and working on that. And we just got a lot of great shit that's going out. I want to, Elizabeth Richardson asks, are you modeling shorts? No, definitely not. Nobody wants to see my fucking legs in shorts. I'm just saying right now, okay? Except for Casey. She can see my legs in shorts. Oh, this month's Hangout. I'm so glad that you guys asked. Let's see. We're going to do this month's Hangout on the 26th. So that's not this weekend, and not next weekend, but the weekend after next. 2 weeks away. So we'll plan on doing it that weekend in the afternoon, probably about 4 p.m. Central. Saturday, the 26th. So yeah. Thank you, Sirnian, for watching tonight. Appreciate you there, bud. I appreciate everybody for being in the chat there. You guys are awesome. And I guess I'm just gonna see you guys later. I'm gonna go on ahead and leave out. My throat's hurting like a motherfucker. I'm gonna go and rest up and spend some time with Casey. She's well rested, and I'll see you heathens later. We got a full week next week. I hope to see you guys there. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.